Hello, I'm Kara Williams of Inner Alchemy Astrology, and I would like to talk to you today about shadow work for Aries. Now, you might be wondering what shadow work is. Shadow work is a concept that was popularized by Carl Jung. It is our shadow. It is the aspects of ourselves that we deny, that we repress, and that later can cause problems in our lives through our relationships at work and so on, in our personal lives, in our psychological responses to things. So our shadow is all the parts of ourselves that we do not like, that we reject, that we repress, that we are ashamed of. And doing shadow work means bringing these elements to light, bringing them to consciousness and working with them and healing. So our shadow often originates from core wounds in our childhood. You can look at my video on inner child work to learn a little more about that. Now, Aries, it's the first sign of the Zodiac. It's a cardinal sign and a fire sign. So Aries is the initiator of the Zodiac. It's the newborn babe. Everything is new, everything is exciting. Aries will start a lot of projects, will have a lot of passion. Aries has a lot of enthusiasm and zest for life and is self-focused. And that is not a dig. Self-focused means the ability to not externalize everything, to not be super concerned with what other people are doing, to just be focused within, to have self-love. And Aries also has the ability to use that martial anger, because Aries is a sign that is ruled by Mars, for a good cause, sacred rage. Now that I have placated the Aries within you, I hope that we can look at the shadow side of Aries. Now, what is the shadow side of being an initiator? Often for Aries, that means that Aries loves to start projects. It's the starter of the Zodiac, the first sign. So Aries has no problem initiating things, making the first move, but sometimes Aries can do it clumsily. You know, Aries hasn't integrated all of the other signs of the Zodiac, unless you are, as their astrologers know, many other planets in many other signs that gives you a sense of balance. But if you have a lot of things in Aries, or Aries in your personal placements, your rising sign, your sun sign, your moon sign, or a stellium, a few placements in Aries. Say you can have Mars, Uranus, Mercury all in Aries, then you will have that Aries energy in this video will apply to you. So lack of follow through, those are some of the flaws of Aries. Quick temper, always finding other people are the problem, you know, road rage, this sort of thing. Selfishness can be a major shadow of Aries. Being self-oriented, you know, having self-love is a great thing. But when it becomes the expense of everyone else in your relationships, that can cause a bit of disharmony, a bit of unbalance. You can be a little bit too egotistical. Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, and Mars is often about our ego, it's about our drive, it's about our passion, and Aries can be, you know, a bit clumsy about seeking what it wants, a bit clumsy and egotistical at times. Remember that Aries has the opposing sign as Libra. So while Aries is self-focused, Libra is focused on the other, you know? So the way to harmonize these energies is to not necessarily be a little more Libran, but to keep that in mind. The Aries who has a little Libra in this chart is a bit blessed in this way, that they can conceive of ways to be in relationship, ways to balance self and other. So having a little bit of consciousness of other people, a little bit of mindfulness can help balance out any kind of selfishness. Trying to put yourself in the other person's shoes as a habit of mind. Now, the kind of anger and egotism that can be the shadow side of Aries can come out as arrogance. And what does arrogance often mask? Like the bully, the egomaniac. Not saying that you are one if you're an Aries, but this is the extreme manifestation of selfish energy, is arrogance, bullying, rage, you know, domination, all of these things. And what are these qualities or behavior patterns often masking? Low self-esteem or feelings of not being good enough. You know, it's like the wounded bully who has to prove themselves by dominating others, controlling others, beating up others. Now, you don't want to be the bully. You want to be you want to use that fire for good. You want to use that fire for things that are actually meaningful, for causes, for fighting for your friends and family, for sticking up for yourself, for sticking up for the underdog. You can direct that energy. You can be the initiator of a group. You can be a leader you can be someone who starts a project and lets other people finish it when you're doing teamwork, and you can channel that Aries Initiator energy to take the initiative where others don't wish to or are too afraid. So consider the core wounds. When we think about shadow work, we look at the core wounds and think about the ways that you might not feel good enough, and do some reflection when you're not in the moment of being triggered by someone's acting stupid, someone is, disrespecting you, someone is pissing you off, someone cut you off in traffic, and the instinct as an Aries might be to lash out, to hold that rage within you, and ultimately that anger is going to poison you. And ultimately that anger that you end up holding onto or internalizing can affect your health, can affect your well-being, and so it's good to find healthy outlets for it. Finding ways to be physical, finding ways to expel your physical energy are very powerful for Aries and can help you refrain from letting out those bursts of martial energy where it's not helpful. Namely, like friends, family, lovers, and so on. So what can an Aries do? You can look at other aspects of your chart. If you know a bit about astrology, look for harmonious aspects coming off of the placement, say your sun, your rising, your moon, or your stellium, and look for a sextile or a trine, and those are your outs, those are your escape routes. So those are places that your Aries energy is being supported by other fire signs placements in your chart. For the trine, a Leo or a Sagittarius placement would form a trine. Not necessarily, it has to be within a certain degree of aspect that you will see when you look at your chart wheel. Or a sextile, which indicates a air placement in your chart. Those will be your little escape routes, they're your little bits of support that can show sometimes a little way to work out your shadows. The best advice I have for the Aries who can be a bit impetuous in their shadow, a bit reactive, because that's what that initiator energy, that fire initiator energy can do, and it can turn to anger, and it can turn to instant reactions. Aries will have a lot of trouble not reacting, and we don't want it to become poisoned by repressing and bottling things up, which can happen, say, if you have your Aries Sun in the 12th house, or conjunct Saturn, or all sorts of ways. Mars and Libra paired with an Aries, that can lead to feelings of suppressing your Aries energy. Now, the best, having an outlet for it, as I said, but also learning to take a step back and not react. It doesn't mean that you that you can't react or respond at all when someone is, triggering you, someone is making you mad, someone is doing something, or a situation. You can be mad at yourself, but learn to reflect, pause, take a breath, breathe deeply, and learn how to respond instead of react. Just pausing for a moment and wondering if it's worth it, if it's going to exacerbate the situation, if it's really going to make you feel better, and then you can allow yourself to process and not lash out and decide exactly in that moment how you wish to respond. So I hope you liked this episode of Shadow Work Through the Signs, and I hope you will like the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to my channel. It would help me out because this is a brand new channel, and I wish you a good day.